Alrighty guys, so we are here in Hope. We're gonna head on the Fraser Canyon Highway now. We're heading up to the Yukon. We're going to Skagway, Alaska. One of the beginnings of the gold fields, guys. Come up from Vancouver or Seattle or all on the coast there, California, from the California Gold Rush. You come all the way up from there and then you take a steamer or you walk or you do what you got to do, right, to get there. But we're going to follow the old Gold Rush trail. So there's the Caribou Gold Rush, which we've done. I've covered that. Make sure you check the videos out. This is the same trail, but we're going to follow it up to the Yukon. So we're going to go all the way up through northern BC, like right up into the past 60th parallel, and then we're going into the Yukon. Watson Lake, we got Whitehorse, we got Skagway, we got Carcross, and then we're going to deke down back into BC, and we're going to go do Atlin. We're going to do the Atlin Gold Rush, because that's a really cool one. It's an offshoot of the Klondike. We're going to pass through a series of bars. The Fraser River Gold Rush was a whole bunch of gold bars, and we're going to be staying in Quesnel tonight, and Quesnel has the same thing, lots of gold bars. You've got the Fraser River right on the Fraser there, Quesnel, Sternwheelers. So it's going to be a good show. But Fraser River, Hills Bar, right near Yale there. That's where Hills Bar is, guys. Hills Bar started the Fraser Canyon Gold Rush, right? 1850, 1851. On the road, you'll see like China Bar, Hills Bar, Boston Bar, right? That's alluding to the gold bars of the Gold Rush. On the Fraser Canyon now, you can see we got the rock cuts on the side of the cliffs here. It was the same when they built this highway. The Royal Engineers, when they had to build this highway back in the day for the Fraser River Gold Rush, well, there was two incarnations of this road. There was the first one up to Lillooet, and then there was this one. But you can see how difficult it would have been to build a road, right? Super precipitous, very, very precipitous. And like, look at it, right? There's nowhere to go, right? So they had cantilevered sections of the highway. Like, imagine driving over a cantilevered section. Be cool. There's some guys that's still probably old enough to remember that. You know, probably driving with your parents or whatever back in the day, right? Over these cantilevered sections of highway on the Fraser. But you can see, guys, very rugged country. And this is the route people would have had to take to get to the gold fields, right? Up to Fraser. We passed Hills Bar. We got China Bar, Sailor Bar, Boston Bar, all alluding to various different gold bars of the Gold Rush, right? But it's beautiful. There's nobody on the road. We got nobody on the road. I'm loving it. Weather's great. Sun's behind us now. Blue sky. We're going to be passing through a whole bunch of different areas on the way up. We're going to be passing through the Pine Pass area. John Robert Giscome and Harry McDame, which are going to come into our story a little bit later as well. It's going to be kind of a travel blog, driving up to Alaska from the coast here, South Coast, BC. It's also going to be historical record, documentation, forest fires, hazards and washouts, everything nowadays. I'll have a series of different videos coming out on all different things. We're going to circumvent the entire of BC, basically. We're going to do a whole loop of BC. So it's going to be good, guys. It's going to be really good. Jackass Mountain Summit here. This got washed out a couple years ago, like really badly, and then everybody had to wait here. Like there's big lineups and stuff because one-way traffic, pilot car show. It was pretty frustrating for a while there, but supposedly fixed now. The bridge, they put the new bridge in. There was a big rainstorm here, and it washed out the bridge, causing a whole bunch of problems. So yeah, I remember it'd be all backed up all the way along here. Looks pretty good though. They repaved it and everything. we're here on the road, nice and early in the morning here, 6:30, ready to go. So, yesterday we were driving out of the coast, Vancouver. We head up the Caribou Wagon Road, otherwise known as the Fraser Canyon Highway. Highway 1, Trans-Canada Highway when you're going south, but in our case, going north, it's the 97 Highway. So I will be following Highway 97 now, all the way up into the Yukon there. It's going to be about 3.5 days, guys, to get out of BC into the Yukon. We're driving the entire length of the province from south to north, basically, and then back again. We're doing a loop, going around all the different terrains here. We're about an hour and a half out of Prince George, and get some gas probably, and then we're going to be heading into the Rockies, guys. Northern Rockies. It's going to be sweet. We're going to actually see the end of the Rockies, not today, not even the next day after. It's going to be 3 days, guys, just to get up to Fort Nelson, and then got a half day driving through Muncho Lake, Northern Rockies, to get to Watson Lake, and then on a Whitehorse, right, and then Skagway ultimately. Skagway is the final destination here, but the Northern Rockies are quite interesting. I like them compared to the Southern Rockies, because the Southern Rockies tend to be very, very populated, and there's lots of people and traffic, and it's congested. Whereas the Northern Rockies is exactly like the Southern Rockies, but much more isolated, right? So I don't know. I personally like that about them. Not much in the way of services. There's Muncho Lake up there, little campground and a lodge and stuff for a fishing lodge. Good fishing up there. We're gonna be it's some really good fishing. But by the end of the day today, we should end up in Dawson Creek, not Dawson City, Dawson Creek. That's mile 0 of the Alaska Highway, so that's gonna tee us up nice and easy to take the Alaska Highway, and then we're on to Skagway, and then we'll be doing the Cassiar on the way back, the Cassiar Highway on the way back. So, but this is Quesnel, guys, early in the morning. Just heading towards Prince George now. Get the smell of the mill too. It smells like a mill.
Do you hear me, Lex? Yeah, so go up and load number 3, we'll dump it, and then we're gonna be on wait here to see what's going on there. They got loads ready, but something's on here at the end, so we'll just unload and we'll just wait. You know it, yeah.
All right, guys. So we're coming into Prince George now. PG, good old PG, railway hub. CN Railway hub for pretty much everything, actually. PG. Lots of stuff going on in Prince George. Lots and lots of industry too, guys, in Prince George, as you can see. Heavy industry here, this town. Fabrication, manufacturing, big in trucking. Truck manufacturing, truck sales. Kenworth right here is Kenworth shop here. Lots and lots of trucks, guys. Logging, milling. Usually smells like pulp mill here too. It's the same in Quesnel, it smells like a pulp mill. But yeah, this is Prince George. So we're gonna come across the Simon Fraser Bridge now and take a look at Prince George. I gotta get some gas too, and then we're gonna keep on the road to Dawson Creek. So guys, we are on the 97. We've left Prince George. We're heading to Dawson Creek, the beginning of the Alaska Highway. Mile 0, the Alaska Highway. I'm excited, guys. That's the thing with the Alaska Highway. It's just like, no matter how many times you do it, you always get another thrill out of it. It's so nice. Oh, I love that highway. Never gets old. There's so much. There's always something to do. There's always something to see. The history, the legacy of it. You know, it's pretty crazy. And it connects the country too, so it's super important. But we're doing a lot of different things, right? I think we've got several different gold rushes on the go here that we're looking at. Routes, transportation routes, trains. So we're gonna go to Tumbler Ridge. We're gonna go look at some dinosaurs, some oil and gas, some coal, a whole bunch of stuff, guys. Before we get up into the Pine Pass, so we're heading towards the Rocky Mountains now. We're gonna cut through the Rockies, and then once we cut through the Rockies, we'll be in northeastern BC. And northeastern BC is quite flat. It's actually very flat. It's like basically like Chunk of Alberta, because what we're doing right now is we've been straddling the accretionary belt boundary, right? So Vancouver, Prince Rupert, all the coastal terrains stacking up towards the Craton, right? So you've got the accretionary belt, you've got the deformed Craton from the impact of all the various terrains impacting on and welding through the accretionary belt, and then you have the Craton. So we're going to come up on the Hubble Homestead, Giscome Portage. So John Robert Giscome, quite a character. So he was a Jamaican immigrant, American. He came up from San Francisco. So in the 1860s, Governor James Douglas of BC there, he was half black as well. He extended an invitation to the African American communities in the States and invited them to come to Canada and start a new life in Canada, right? Because, the States had segregation and all that. We're not talking about that. But what happened, everybody knows what the situation was in the States at the time, right? So basically, Governor Douglas said, look, you can come here, start a new life, right? Hang out, basically. And so 300 black Americans came up from San Francisco. And John Robert Giscome was one of them. And Henry McDame, sometimes other known as Harry McDame, and they were building the Central American Railway up to California for the California Gold Rush in the 1830s there, 1840s. And then they made their way up to Canada in the 1860s. And John Robert Giscome and Harry McDame are some of the best prospectors to ever have walked the face of the earth, in my opinion. Harry McDame, in particular, mine finder, household name, Telegraph Creek, Atlan District, up in the Yukon there. Omenica Gold Rush, we'll be traveling to the Omenica Gold Belt. So basically what was happening was they came up for the Caribou Rush. John Robert Giscome and Harry or Henry McDame, either one, right? Came up, and they met in Quesnel there. They were in Quesnel. Then they decided to head up into the Omenica, start prospecting the Omenica, the Peace River Gold Rush. But they had problems. They were going to go up the Salmon River, but the Salmon River was quite swollen from winter runoff. So what they did was they had a native guide with them there, and they decided we take another route. We go up through Summit Lake. So there's a Giscome Portage, the Hubble Homestead. They stayed there. John and Harry there. They stayed there, and then they crossed over Summit Lake up through McLeod Lake and into the Omenica to go to prospect the Omenica. And then they found a whole bunch of mines, a bunch of French Canadian guys up there too, big names. Vital Laforce, he's another guy. He'd come, and a lot of these names, guys, Harry McDame, John Giscome, Vital Laforce, they're all going to come into play here up in the Cassiar and the Stikine, because Harry McDame in particular, he was all the way up there, right? So this general area that we're coming to here is we'll see Giscome Portage, Hubble Homestead, right? But it's cool to be retracing the steps of some of the finest prospectors that ever walked the land here. And Giscome did really well. Like a lot of the mines, like Billy Barker, a lot of miners, guys, Volcanic Brown, a lot of these guys, they found mines and they got rich, but they blew all their money on either, busted prospecting ventures or, whatever it is. But Giscome there, he bought a bunch of property and real estate in Victoria, and he died in 1891, and he actually had money left. And so he gave all the money that he had to his landlady there, and but he was able to retain his money. And these guys were always up north, guys. Harry McDame in particular was a prospector's prospector. Here we go. Hubble Homestead, Giscome Portage, Heritage Attraction. Coming up here, let's see. Okay, right on, guys. Here we go. We are Hubble Homestead. We're not at the homestead itself, but we're in the park there. So the fur trade period, 1793 to 1858. The first reference of a portage in the vicinity of what would later be known as the Giscome Portage is found in the journals of Simon Fraser, 1806. While following Mackenzie's route up the Parsnip River, A native informed him of a shortcut to the Fraser River that would replace the long overland carry from Fort Macleod to Fort St. James. However, because of the shallow, treacherous channel that the crooked river and the swampy nature of the portage itself, the route was not suitable for freighting fur trade goods, and the long overland haul remained the accepted commercial route for the fur trade. In April 1863, John Giscome and his partner Harry McDame canoed up the Fraser River from Fort George, Prince George, to prospect on the Peace River beyond McLeod Lake. Their native guide led them over to a portage trail from the Fraser River to Summit Lake at the headwaters of the Peace River. Thus, they discovered a new route across the continental divide between the Pacific and Arctic watersheds. Giscome and McDame enjoyed some notability in later years. Both men were from the West Indies, and they had adjoining lands near Quesnel. They made some money from a gold strike on McDame Creek near Dease Lake in the 1870s. The portage was used intermittently for a decade, but it was the Omenica gold rush beginning in 1870 that gave the Giscome Portage set of importance. In 1871, 400 petitioners from Quesnel called upon the government to open a road access portage to shorten the route to the Omenica country. A wagon road was built that summer at the cost of $9,000, and for several decades it continued to serve as one of the main routes to the Peace River. Gradually, however, the road became over because it was largely superseded by the telegraph trail from Quesnel to Fort Fraser. That's the road here where we are, right? 43 kilometers to PG. Giscome Portage Regional Park, and then that's the portage, right? Fraser River, portage, highway pullout, and then Summit Lake there. Henry and John there, that's what they would have done. Hubble Homestead and Trading Post, 1905 to 1919. A community at Giscome Portage developed when, in 1903, two settlers from Ontario, Albert Hubble and Edward Seebeck, took up trap lines on two creeks bearing their names to the east of the portage. In 1904, Hubble and Seebeck formed a partnership and started up a trading post at the south end of the portage on the Fraser River. Hubble's homestead and farm became the core of an area of agricultural settlement that was known as Giscome Portage. The homestead included a warehouse, store, barn, blacksmith shop, and square log house built in 1912. The two men had a flourishing business center at this, the closest point between the Pacific and Arctic watersheds. Giscome Portage became a regular stop for steamboats running the Fraser to Tedajune Cache after 1909. Hubble sold vegetables and meats to boats and guided travelers through the Giscome Rapids on the Fraser. Hubble also recut and rebuilt the decayed Portage Road and built a warehouse at the Summit Lake end. He was then able to convey goods and travelers across the portage to Summit Lake. The community progressed steadily in the years before the war. By 1911, there were 27 other homesteads in the vicinity, and in 1915, Albert Hubble opened the official Giscome Portage Post. 1915 to 1952, the decline of the Giscome Portage initiated by the war was accelerated by the shift from water to road transport. In 1919, Summit Lake Road went directly to the lake and Giscome Portage was passed by. This was the end of the historic post and portage. Today, visitors can follow the footsteps of Simon Fraser and other hardy pioneers and trace the old portage route. From Hubble Homestead on the bank of the Fraser to Highway 97 are 7.5 kilometers of this attractive wagon trail that served as the major commercial route over the Continental Divide between the Fraser and Peace Rivers from 1863 to 1919. So guys, we're just in the parking lot. We're not going to go to the homestead because it's 6 clicks down the road there and it's closed anyways, but I just wanted to show you guys the location of the homestead and the info, right? So you can see here, open year round, daily. It's got all the hours, right, for it. So definitely worth checking out. So we're going to be heading into the Peace River region now, and lots to come on there. So stay tuned, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe to the channel. Southwest Prospector out.